yourself by name and affiliation, and just direct your question to a specific student athlete. And we will open the floor for questions. Yep, you're on the right.
Mark Herman from Newsday. Shamari, this is what you've been waiting for. What have these past couple of days been like, and what's today like, just when you're actually here?
I mean, it's definitely a blessing to be here. I mean, this is something I dreamed of. And I mean, I'm just glad to share here with my brothers and definitely try to go far in the tournament.
Right here on the right.
Shamari, as a kid who grew up in New York, what does it mean to you to be part of St. John's team back in the NCAA? And when you were a kid or in high school, did you follow St. John's at all in terms of seeing how their progress was before you got here?
So like my freshman year, I wasn't really focused on like none of that. But I mean, I had to, because I mean this is where I'm at now. So, but I mean it just feels so unreal.
Right here on the left.
Marvin, how rewarding is this for you as a senior to be going to the NCAA tournament?
It's definitely rewarding. You know, I'm just thankful, you know, that my senior season isn't over and that my career isn't over, and that, you know, I've been able to, you know, be with these guys up here and be able to accomplish, you know, a feat of bringing St. John's back to the NCAA tournament.
To follow up on that, how much are you guys trying to salvage this opportunity, knowing that you're the last team in the field?
You know, even though we're the last team, you know, we're in. So, you know, we don't want to just be here and be happy to be where we're at right now. You know, we're really focused and locked in on, you know, making a run, and we feel like we have the talent to make a run.
Right here on the left.
I guess Marvin and Mustafa, you guys have both played in the tournament, Mustafa more recently. How much do you think that experience can help?
Marvin, can you answer that first, please?
I think that experience, you know, helps us a ton. This being my third time being in the tournament throughout my career. You know, every game, it's a whole new season, but every game is, you know, it's your last game, and you know, you really should be overcome with energy. There should never be a point where you're tired or focused or worried about being tired. So I think, you know, having Justin Simon, Mustafa, you know, two guys that have played and been in this environment, I think it's going to make a big difference.
Mustafa?
The way I look at it is at the end of the day, it's basketball. You know, being here, you know, having the experience to come here is good and all, but the way I look at it is put the ball in the rim. I mean, it's been the same since we was little, so you just go out, have fun, enjoy the moment, put it in the rim.
Right here on the right.
And I'm sorry, I set a bad tone. We're supposed to identify ourselves. Mark Herman from Newsday. Mustafa, can you describe, because I know you took a different route here, but what St. John's meant to you when you were growing up? What sort of impact did that have on you? How much did you know about St. John's?
I was a Kentucky fan growing up. I was Kentucky, then UConn. I didn't know too much about St. John's growing up. I guess, does that answer your question? Yeah.
What do you know?
What ultimately made you a St. John's fan?
I wasn't really a St. John's. When I was little, I wasn't really a St. John's fan. I'm from Connecticut, so UConn was it for me. I was at UConn games. That was it for me.
But what do you like about it now?
I love it. Coaching staff. I love my teammates. I love the university, program, everything about it.
We'll go here on the right by the pillar first.
Hey, Roger Rubin from Newsday. From Marvin, Mustafa, are there things that you have shared with the guys who haven't been in this environment about what it's like being in an NCAA tournament? Like, what are the things that maybe they ask you about that you tell them, or the things that you volunteer to help them understand what this is going to be like?
Mustafa, can you take that first?
I mean, like I said earlier, I think the biggest thing is just letting everybody know it's basketball. This is something that we've been doing since we were little. I mean, it's, you know, as far as the pressure and all that stuff goes, you really don't, once you get inside them lines, it's whoever's in front of you. You know, you're not really worried about the crowd, the media, any of that. It's basketball.
Marvin?
And, you know, really just what I was just preaching, waking up this morning, is just living the moment. You know, like Stoph said, you don't want to make it too big. You don't want to make it too big. At the end of the day, it's basketball. And, you know, most important thing is just living in the moment and making sure that, you know, no matter what, that next morning when you wake up, whether it's win, lose, or draw, you gave your all.
Right here on the right.
Mike Ficara, New York Post. Justin, Marvin, Mustafa, this is for all three of you, without embarrassing him too much, but can you all talk a little bit about what it's like to play with Shamori, especially when he's really on top of his game, and what it means for you guys when you guys are playing well and he's playing well?
Marvin?
Well, I talk about Shamar all the time. Great player, really great player. But for me, he helps my game so much because he draws so much attention that I get a lot of open shots because of that. And it's great playing with him. He's a scorer, but he's one of those scorers that's he loves the pass, loves making the pass, loves making that fancy play. So he's been somebody that I've enjoyed playing with over these 3 years, and I've enjoyed watching him grow. And I'm happy to be a part of this whole thing and this whole dynamic of him being able to stay home and get St. John's back into the tournament, being the hometown hero. So it's been a blessing playing with him.
Justin?
Yeah, what Marvin said, it's been a blessing playing with Shamari. Me, Marvin, and Shamari came here together. Watching him grow has been major for our program and our team. He's an incredible playmaker. Great hands on defense and active player. Like I said, just see him grow is major.
Mustafa?
Pretty much the same thing, as Justin said, to piggyback. I haven't seen, before I came here, it was high school was the last time I seen him, and just to see Shamar grow over the years, and then for him to be in the tournament now, it's the first time, and we want to win it all for him.
You're right here on the aisle.
Marvin, what do you think the last few weeks have been like for Coach? He loses his brother, and now he gets the school he played for into the tournament. I know he doesn't like talking a lot about himself, but what do you think the last few weeks have been like for him?
I would say, it's the perfect balance of, as low as you can be and as high as you can be. Going through what Coach is going through is something that I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine losing one of my brothers. Even one of these guys up here, it would eat me up inside. But Coach is a tough guy, and I think he showed, the type of mental toughness that he has to be able to, go through that. And, we weren't really playing great basketball, through that whole course of time. So for him to still want to be a part of this and, want to be around us during that time, means a lot and shows how much he loves us and shows how much he loves his program. And, to be able to help him, get his school back into this position is dope.
Have you seen any signs of, has he talked at all about it? Has he shown it all?
No. And, we know what's going on, and, out of respect for him, we've tried our hardest to just make it about basketball, and that's what he wants. He doesn't want to think about, I know for me, I wouldn't want to think about losing my brother at all. I would just want to think about putting the ball in the net, being around my guys. So that's what, what we've embodied, and that's the, the way we're going to carry ourselves and try to make sure that basketball is the outlet for him.
Right here on the left.
Justin, why could this team be fit for a run in March Madness?
Just our versatility on both ends, offense and defense, our ability to switch, and our talent on our roster. I just feel comfortable with our guys, and I think we got a close group, and we just want to keep competing, and I don't think we're ready for our season to be over yet.
Yeah, follow up.
For any of you, whoever would like to, what have you guys seen thus far in your prep for Arizona State?
Shamari, can you answer that? Can you take that one, Shamari?
They stay very similar to us. So we just gotta play our game on both ends of the floor. Just let our defense be our best offense.
Here on by the pillar.
Roger Rubin from Newsday, again. Shamori, you're a young man, but you've already played in a lot of very big and important basketball games, in high school too, and in college. How does this compare with the biggest ones that you've played in? What's a close comparison?
Well, for me, I'd say this is the biggest. Because now and never is it's either win or go home. And like Justin said, we're not ready for our season to be over. So we just want to play to as long as we can.
Shamari, to follow up, a year ago you were thinking about weighing your options. You were thinking about maybe not coming back to St. John's. When you reflect back on it, what are your thoughts about your decision to do so, to come back? What does that mean to you now?
I mean, this is one of the main reasons here. I mean, being here. I mean, when I think of college basketball, this is what I dreamed of. So, I mean, I'm just happy to be here.
You're in the back on the right.
Rod Hisling, Spectrum Networks. Just the last couple of days here since you found out you're going to be in the tournament, has Coach shared any of his time in the NCAA tournament and kind of reflected it all, or what's been his message to you about playing in the tournament here tomorrow night?
Shimori?
Coach haven't really like took us back, but I mean, I definitely think his experience definitely feeds off on us. So I mean, we're here to win games.
Right here on the right.
And this is for anybody. Growing up, and even in recent years, were you all fans of March Madness? And when you think back on it, what sticks out in your mind? What's the most memorable March Madness you ever saw?
Start with Shimori.
I'd say Villanova winning the championship, not the last year, but when Chris Jenkins hit the buzzer beat on me, I feel like why would I not want to be there?
Justin?
When I growing up, I had a good friend that played for San Diego State, so I would watch them play, and I had the opportunity to watch them play. They played Arizona and Anaheim. Did they play Arizona? UConn in Anaheim. So I watched that game, and I always wanted to be a part of the March Madness. And my freshman year, I didn't get a chance to play, so I'm glad I'm back here today.
Marvin?
For me, when I was younger growing up, just watching the one shining moment clips, man, and having your little moment. That to me, that's something that I just always wanted to be a part of. And I also grew up watching older guys play, that would come back home and share their memories. So it's just like why wouldn't you want to be a part of it? Why wouldn't you want to leave your legacy or leave your mark on a program?
Mustafa?
Pretty much the same thing. To piggyback off of what they said, just growing up watching all my favorite college players. Marvin messed up my bracket my senior year of high school, but we're here to get it back for him.
Any further questions? All right, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Good luck tomorrow night. We will be joined by Chris Mullin, the head coach of St. John's, at 1:10.
But putting them on the spot because they feel like they should know something. There's no reason. Mullin's main attraction for St. John's isn't he played at St. John's. That's more an impactful thing compared to Chris Mullin. Chris Mullin was St. John's. So much pressure watching him to St. John. He's great at St. John. When you look at him as a total player, we were embarrassed. He was ultra fit. You get him down the field. He's athletic. You look at some of the. I want to say,
Yeah, but I'd say, you know, like it's a bit more soft.
soft. I mean, just even from the oh yeah, because he can move. He's quick.
Chris, how you doing? Good. How are you? All right. Questions for Coach Mullin? Right here on the right.
Chris, what are you enjoying about your first NCAA tournament as a coach?
Got a good night's sleep last night. I enjoyed that. I just think the excitement, I think the ride over, the guys are excited to be here. They got a good feel about what they've accomplished. And, you know, we had good practice yesterday, and everything else was pretty much status quo.
Here on the right.
Mark Herman from Newsday. Chris, the guys seem to get immediately. They get over that whole, you know, we're the last team in. How does that not matter to them? That the fact that you know that they were the 68th choice out of 68.
Well, because actually it doesn't matter. That's the fact of the matter is it does not matter. So it's kind of quite factual, and yeah. So it's a true new beginning. Number 1, number 17, what is it, 16, 12, there's no advantage. You got to go out and play good basketball. You play good basketball, you move on. You don't, your season's over. I mean, different experiences. You know, I was part of a team that was the last team in the NBA playoffs and the last day of the season, and we upset the number 1 team with the most wins in the NBA. So it truly does not matter, and that's, you don't have to make that up. That's not something you have to tell stories about. That's the fact.
Right here in the aisle.
Mike Vaccaro, New York Post. Chris, can you talk about the first time you watched some Shamori play? And when you think back at that time, could you see him develop into what he's become, or is it even surprised you what he's been able to become as a college player?
Yeah, I watched Shamari quite a bit in the AAU circuit, but I remember distinctly watching his city championship game at Madison Square Garden, and he played a great game. I remember sitting there like, wow, this is going to be tough to figure this kid out to play, you know, with other good players in high-level competition. So I think that's a great question, Mike, because I think it's underrated how much he's improved. He's obviously had 3 incredible seasons, you know, historically, with his numbers and his stats. But his improvement, I think, has been overlooked, from his strength, his playmaking, his defense has improved. And I think he's, you know, one of, not many players can really influence the game in a lot of different ways like he does. He doesn't have to score to influence the game. And he draws so much attention that just being on the floor, he makes his teammates better.
Yeah, sure, follow up.
When he's playing at his best, what does that do for the other players? I mean, he seems like the kind of player that, especially when he's playing in his A game, can really make other players better and can make what you do more reasonably you can actually do that stuff because of what he's able to do. Is that a pretty accurate representation of what he is?
Yeah, that's right on. And I think, and to another level, when he's really, playing at a fast pace and really attacking off the dribble, that adds a whole nother dimension. Him being on the floor, he attracts attention. But when he's coming off pick and rolls and really, making a concerted effort to get to the paint and playing downhill, he collapses the defense and really, creates nice opportunities for his teammates.
Here in the front, on the right.
Doug Howler with The Athletic. Chris, there's an idea that coaches who have played at the highest level often struggle as coaches because they can't get their players to dedicate themselves the way they dedicated themselves as players growing up. Do you agree with that? Have you had any challenges with that during your time as coach at St. John's?
Yeah, well, I wasn't quite that high-level player to really judge other people, really. So from this standpoint, from where I sit, I'm always really trying to sometimes pass on my experiences if it's appropriate. More importantly, I was just talking to Austin Crozier, more importantly, I reference a lot of coaches that I played for and things that they did to help me. I played with Austin at the Pacers, and I do reference Larry Bird a lot to my guys because I do think sometimes we get caught up in wins and losses, and Larry was one of the coaches that would actually tell us how we played. And there were games we played really well and lost, and he would be okay with it. And games we played, really bad and won, and would be honest with that. So I really try and, just pass on different things to help our guys. From Coach Carnesecca, always. So it hasn't been tough. Look, those things come up when you lose, right? But it's not because you're a good player. You want to win the game, so you're trying to fix those things, to play better the next game. That's really where my focus comes from.
Right here on the right, in the back. Oh, sorry, right here. Go ahead, sorry.
Roger Rubin from Newsday. Chris, you mentioned Coach Carnesecca. We know that you guys are in touch. Have you had conversations with him about bringing a team to an NCAA tournament? Has there been any wisdom that he's given you? Can you tell us a little bit about conversations with him?
I was what was I coming from the other night? Yeah, I passed through Queens the other night on our off day. I think it was Friday, and I went to his house. I spent 2 hours with him. We didn't talk anything about basketball, but he did pass on a lot of wisdom. Look, I went to 4 tournaments with him. Watched him handle all different type situations. The 4 years I played for him, probably more importantly, how he's handled his players, their families. So the night I spent with him, he was telling me about his high school friends. He told me there was 5, there's only 4 left, and we're still in touch. So we sat for 2 hours. He was telling me stories about the old East Side, his father's fruit stand on 62nd and 2nd Avenue. But there's not a whole lot he needs to tell me because I experienced a lot with him. I watched everything he did. I listened, most of those stories I tell are very not only relevant but clear in my mind. And that's what I referenced. It's passing that knowledge, that care, just passing that stuff on to the next generation. That's how I really look at it. I'm really just here to guide these kids. Of course, I want them to play well. I want them to look good. I want them to win. But it's also passing on the knowledge and mentoring them like I was. That's what people did for me.
Over here in the middle.
Chris, what's the emotion been like walking into the arena today compared to when you did it as a player? Are there any parallels between playing in the tournament and now coaching in the tournament with St. John's?
I think the parallel is the renewed excitement. I had 4 different experiences. One I thought my second year had probably a really good chance to really move along deep into the tournament. And my last year we did move along. The other 2 years we were similar to this team, just getting in there and trying to figure your way through it. So I think the excitement of a new season is there. I haven't been in the arena yet, so I can't answer that part. Yeah, but I think the excitement and newness, this was a new experience for me, sitting in that room, and Mike, you and Roger were there, watching those kids, like that authentic, explosion of emotion. I hadn't seen that. I've watched it on TV before, but I never sat in a room like that. I guess similar to, I've seen kids in the draft room and the different emotions that go through that, the kids getting picked early, maybe kids not getting picked. So to stand there, I was in the back, and just to watch that, that was a new experience for me at 55. So that was cool.
You're in the back on the right.
Chris, do you and Bobby have any kind of a relationship? He obviously, grew up in the area and played in the area until he went to Duke. Did you guys know each other at all?
Yeah, I know the Hurley family very well. His dad, obviously a Hall of Fame coach at St. Anthony's. So I've known him since I was in high school. Bobby, I met personally at the Dream Team at the workouts when he was playing for the select team. And his brother Danny I know as well. So I know that family very well. It's basketball royalty of New Jersey, and they just love the game of basketball. They teach it. They are very intense, and it's the whole family's involved, and I've known them for a long time. What's that? No, I'm the only idiot that decided to coach in my family.
Right here in the middle.
Chris, we all know how much the colors and that St. John's logo mean to you. Just what does it mean to have St. John's in this tournament? What does it mean to you personally to have this school in the tournament?
Yeah, well, in my mind, we're supposed to be here every year. It's gotten tougher. It has. It's gotten harder to get into this tournament. But to be, was it 353 Division I schools, somewhere around there, and to be one of 68, we're proud of that, and we want to continue to do that, but also we want to, while we're here, represent ourselves with class, dignity, and humility.
Here in the front.
Chris, you brought up the Dream Team scrimmages in San Diego. I was just going to ask what were your impressions of Bobby during those sessions?
Yeah, he played great. He played really, really well. I think I'm on tape. One of the sessions, look, that was a long time ago, so. But a lot of those guys, and Bobby being maybe at the top of the list, really helped his status among NBA executives, because he played really, really well against, who he was playing against. And I think they all used that and fueled it when they went back to school and/or entered the draft. But he was a leader. He was one of those guys that always overachieved, played hard as nails, and did whatever it took to win. Made his teammates better.
Here now.
Chris, I know you've joked for years about how, when you try and, if you were to try and sell yourself as Mr. St. John's, the kids' parents would probably know who you are more than they would, just because of time passes. But when you do try and sell your part of the program to recruits, what do you think interests them most? Your time as a player, your time as a coach, your time as an executive? What do you think of those things? What do you think for a kid, if you were in their place, what do you think would appeal to them most about going to play for you?
That's a good question. I think it's a combination of all, Mike. I think these kids they're very intelligent. They have access to all information, past, present, and sometimes even in the future, if they read your guys' stuff. I think it's everything. I can go back when Coach Carnesecca recruited me. The fact that he coached in the pros was intriguing to me. I like that. So I think, look, a lot of these kids, that's their dream, right? And you want to do everything you can to fulfill that dream with the insurance plan of education and degree. But I think having experiences across the board, I think helps. And then look, in this day and age, there's so many transfers. I think the kids hopefully are getting a little smarter and emphasizing the right thing, right? So what they're going to study, style of play, are you going to get along with the coach, not just listen to me? Is this someone you can, form a bond with and trust and feel good about playing for? So I think all those things are important.
Any further? Yep, right here.
not only for the guys who are here now, but what does it do for some kid who's maybe thinking about where he's going to go to college just to see you guys in this tournament?
Yeah, so the exposure is something you can't even, you can't find that anywhere, right? So it's, people start finding, where's St. John's, you know, and they watch kids play, they associate with some player, maybe Shamari Pons, they want to be the next Shamari Pons, the next Mustafa Heron, whatever that might be. And that's this stage provides something that you can't get anywhere else. You know, so that the big stage, just the fact that we're out there and you know so many people watching, and that's a huge thing for the school.
So Alan, you good? Any further questions, Coach Mullin? Chris, thank you. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks.
We will be joined by student athletes from Arizona State at 1:35. Just about 10 minutes.